This is, I guess, another in a series of polls leading back to this time last year when the poll number for legalizing marijuana, when asked, is right around 60. And I remember in 2015, I think, is when they made the biggest deal about it being, and it was like 58% back then, and 59. Then it hit 59, and it was steady around 59. A couple of them bumped it up to 60, and I think there was even a Gallup poll that had it at 62 real quick. But this CBS poll seems to be, for some reason, I don't know if it's the mainest of mainstream medias. So maybe, but whatever. People seem to take this shit the most serious, and I guess I would too, if I looked at all the other polls and what exactly was involved. So anyway, a recent CBS News poll shows support for legalizing marijuana is higher than ever. 61% of Americans think marijuana use should be legal, a 5-point increase from last year at the highest percentage ever recorded in this poll. 88% favor medical marijuana use, down from 92 from that Gallup poll I mentioned earlier. 71% opposes the federal government's effort to stop marijuana sales in its use in states that have legalized it, including opposition from most Republicans, Democrats, and independents. So now we have a 71 number on the hey, Sessions, don't try it. 65% think marijuana is less dangerous than most other drugs, and only 23% think legalizing marijuana leads to an increase of violent crime. Wow, I'd really like to talk to that 23%, but I think they're really old and their hearing aids the batteries might not be fresh on those. I don't know. I mean, remember these polls they're mostly done on hardline phones. I don't even know anybody that has one of those, so I don't know how this shit even happens. Anywho, more generally on the topic of drug abuse, 69% think that should be treated as an addiction and mental health problems rather than criminal offense. That's weird wording, but so yeah, basically, hey, don't throw people in jail, throw them in rehab or, treat it as that situation. Marijuana legalization support over the years. So it goes down, and it's a pretty, you see the evolution. And I don't know, it's many factors. It's the education of people, the generations, as the generations get on, more people are smoking in different generations. I don't know what it's basically a progression that probably was a natural timeline on it. The one that surprised me, though, was a story I did last year, I think, about how police officers, if you look at police officers in general, like 75%-ish would like to see marijuana legalized in some form or another, whether it's medical or recreational or both or whatever. The belief that pot should be legal has reached a new high in CBS poll. 61% of Americans think it should be, a 5-point increase from a year ago. The sentiment increased each year we've measured it since 2013, with a turning point to the majority support coming in 2014. Those over 65 are the most opposed to legalization, like I just said, but most under 65 support it. Women are now as much in favor of legal marijuana as men. In previous years, they were less so. Many states have legalized pot in some form, and most Americans don't think the federal government should try to stop its sale and use in those states. Even among those who think marijuana should be illegal, only half think the federal government should get involved in those states. That's still, yo, what more do you need to know about it? The sentiment cuts across party lines. Majorities of Republicans, 63%. Well, hold on. that is the highest I've ever seen Republicans. Matter of fact, I don't think I've seen them over 50 before. I think the last poll I seen, they were in the 40s. They're usually in the 30s. It was like 42. It was a low 40 or something like that. Anyway, 76 Democrat, 72 Independent. I don't know what independents they were talking to, but my God. Most independent parties' platform starts with legalize marijuana. And depending on whether you're the libertarian side of it, where it's like hands-off, total abrogation, no taxing, no none of that. Just anybody can grow any amount of plants. No any rules or regulations. And then you have your Democrat style independents that are kind of more, I don't know what you would call it, business-minded lefties, where they're going to want to make a little money off it and spread that money around, help the schools and the roads and shit. So, independents, I don't know how this happens, that they got people that call themselves independent. Again, it's those people that you have to call on a hardline phone. They oppose federal government trying to stop marijuana use in these states. Okay, that's that one again. I thought this was the question of just legalizing. But yeah, that's that question. 63% of Republicans, wow. But the independents still, I don't know who would be calling themselves an independent and would say, yeah, there's apparently 28% of these independents would be like, kick in the door of Colorado's dispensaries and bust the recreational, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. Marijuana compared to alcohol and other drugs. Generally, Americans think habitual drug use should be treated as an addiction problem rather than a criminal offense. Even most Americans who oppose legalizing marijuana think so. Majorities of Republicans, Democrats, and Independents all agree. Most Americans view marijuana, in particular, as safer than alcohol. Yeah. Hey, 7%. Man, you really bought the whatever goods on that garbage. Nobody in their right mind thinks that marijuana is more dangerous than alcohol. Come on. Most Americans also think marijuana is less dangerous than most other drugs, particularly those who say they have tried it. There continues to be wide support for allowing doctors to prescribe small amounts of marijuana for patients suffering from serious illnesses. 88% of Americans think this should be allowed, similar to a year ago. Even most Americans who oppose legalizing marijuana in general think medical marijuana should be allowed. I believe that number is more closer to 100% than you think. Who supports it and who's tried it? All age groups support it. Definitely, except for those people that are over 65. Americans under 35 show the strongest support. 3 in 4 adults between 18 and 34 support legalizing marijuana, as do 6 in 10 Americans between 35 and 64. There are partisan differences. Most Democrats and Independents increasingly think marijuana use should be legal, while Republicans are divided. Yeah, let's see. Though support for legalized marijuana use has increased among women, most women say that they still haven't tried marijuana. Most men say they have. Most Americans under 65 say they have tried it, while just a quarter of seniors 65 and older have. Independents are less more likely to have tried it than either Democrats or Republicans. Huh? Whatever. I don't know about these polls, my friend. This poll was conducted by a telephone April 11th through 15th, 2017, among a random sample of 1,000 adults nationwide. Data collection was conducted on behalf of CBS News by SSRS of Media, Pennsylvania. Phone numbers were dialed from samples of both standard line and cell phones, so I stand corrected. The poll employed a random digit dial methodology. What? For the landline sample, a respondent was randomly selected from all adults in the household. From the cell phone sample, interviews were conducted with the person who answered the phone. Interviews were conducted in English, Spanish, using live interviewers. The data has been weighed to reflect U.S. Census figures on demographic variables. wow, this is really, they really went out of their way to make sure they found the right people in their poll. The error due to sampling for results based on the entire sample could be plus or minus for percentage points. The error for subgroups may be higher and is available by request. The margin of error includes the effects of standard weighing procedures, which enlarge sampling errors slightly. Sounds a little too complicated for me to understand, but what I do kind of get is that these mainstream media polls are actually starting to look like what's really going on out there as far as people's support for these policies that are just basically, like I always say, prohibition of marijuana is the social experiment, not legalizing. Legalizing isn't, I don't even like the word. How about taking the prohibition off? And we'll go from there. So that's all I got on that one. Yep. There's, pretty much everybody supports legalizing marijuana, except for some old people that you don't even hang around with. So that's, you can even go to a church, and there's a lot of people supporting marijuana there. But marijuana support is at an all-time high.